Hey there, and welcome back. Today, we're diving into evaluation and assessment. Now, this is a topic that's right at the heart of education, and really how we measure progress in just about anything. It's all about making judgments, but as you're about to see, there's a real science to doing it right. So, here's what we've got on tap. First, we'll talk about why any judgment needs a solid foundation to stand on. Then, we'll get into the evaluation hierarchy, why timing is everything, the different ways to assess, and finally, how we can turn that critical eye on the curriculum itself. Let's get started. Okay, first things first. What is evaluation? At its core, it's about figuring out the value or worth of something. But, and this is the important part, for it to be useful, it has to be way more than just a gut feeling or a simple opinion. And this quote just hits the nail on the head, doesn't it? Saying a movie was good is, well, it's just your opinion. It doesn't really tell me anything. But saying it was good because of the incredible cinematography, the sharp dialogue, and a powerful performance from the lead actor, now that's an evaluation. You're using clear criteria, you're using evidence, and that's the massive difference we're digging into today. So how do we build one of those solid, evidence-based judgments? Well, it's not a single leap. It's a process. It's actually a hierarchy where each step builds right on top of the last. So let's break down the three key terms you absolutely need to know: measurement, assessment, and evaluation. Everything, and I mean everything, starts with measurement. This is just the raw data. It's objective, it's usually a number, and there's no meaning attached to it, yet. Think of it like this. A student scored 9 out of 10 on a test, or an athlete threw a javelin 100 meters. These are just the facts, plain and simple. Next up the ladder is assessment. This is where we take that raw data from the measurement step and we start to interpret it. We give it some context. So that 9 out of 10 score, that might become an A grade. That 100-meter throw, that could put the athlete in first place. Assessment is what gives those raw numbers their meaning. And right at the top, the final step is evaluation. This is where we make that ultimate value judgment about worth or progress. And it's all based on the data we just interpreted in the assessment. It's that final written comment on the report card that says something like, "Excellent progress in spelling, showing a real mastery of complex words." It's the final verdict. So this really lays it all out, nice and simple. You see, you can't have an evaluation without an assessment, and you can't have an assessment without a measurement. It's a chain reaction. You gather the data, you figure out what it means, and then, and only then, do you make your final judgment. Let's walk through a quick example. All right, so we start with a single piece of data, a measurement. A student gets a 72% in English. That's it, just a number. Is that good? Is it bad? Who knows? On its own, the number doesn't tell us much at all. Now let's assess it. The teacher takes that 72% and compares it to how everyone else in the class did. And what do you know? It's actually one of the highest scores. So that 72% is translated into a grade of A. All of a sudden, that number has some serious meaning. And finally, the evaluation. On the official report card, the teacher takes that A grade and all the other data they have and writes a final, conclusive comment about that student's excellent performance in English. And just like that, the process is complete. Okay, so we've got the what and the how down. But the when is just as critical. The entire purpose of an evaluation can completely change depending on when you decide to do it. And this table breaks it down perfectly. You've got formative evaluation, which happens during the learning process. Think of it like a coach shouting tips from the sideline during a game. It's all about improving performance right now. Then there's summative evaluation, which happens at the very end. That's the final score, the big exam that judges your overall achievement. And finally, you have diagnostic evaluation. This is like the mechanic for learning. You use it before or during instruction to figure out what's not working or where a student needs to start. So when we get to that middle step, assessment, and we're trying to interpret the data, there are two really different ways we can think about setting the standard. Okay, so here's the big difference. Norm-referenced assessment is basically a competition. Your performance is only understood by comparing you to everyone else. Are you in the top 10%? Did you score above the class average? On the flip side, criterion-referenced assessment has nothing to do with other people. It compares you against a fixed, predetermined standard. Did you meet the objective? Can you correctly spell 95% of the words? It doesn't matter one bit how anyone else did. And this really shapes the entire learning environment. One creates a race to be ranked, while the other focuses on making sure every single student can actually master the material. Now, for our last section, let's zoom out a bit. all of these powerful tools for evaluation don't just apply to students. We can, and we absolutely should, use them to evaluate the entire learning plan, the curriculum itself. And honestly, this is a critical part of the puzzle that often gets missed. So why bother? Well, think of curriculum evaluation as a health checkup for the whole educational program. It's not just asking, did the students learn what we taught them? It's asking the tougher question, is our plan to teach them even working in the first place? This is how we make our own teaching methods better. Are our objectives clear? Are our materials effective? Without this step, we're really just flying blind. And a proper curriculum evaluation isn't just a casual chat over coffee. It's a rigorous, systematic process. This framework here shows you the 7 stages professionals follow to get real, reliable answers. It starts with just understanding the situation, then designing the study, collecting and analyzing data, and finally presenting the findings. This whole process ensures the evaluation is fair, objective, and actually useful for making things better. And that brings us to the end. We've seen that good evaluation isn't just about handing out grades. It's a thoughtful, multi-step process designed to improve, not just to judge. So that leaves us with one final thought to chew on. If the real goal here is to improve learning, what's one thing we could change about how evaluation is done in our schools today to make that happen?
Thanks for joining us for this explainer. As always, everything we've talked about is grounded in the source materials, which you can see right here. We'll see you on the next one.